Hello, everybody. It's me, the comic book frog. I'm here once again to what? Review The Flash. And I gotta say, this episode was way better than the last two. At least a bit for me. Why? Because we get not only do we get to see Nora, it kind of features a little bit more Barry. We get to see more of Eddie, which is a very great pleasure to see this actor coming back and reprising his role. This is Rick Cosnet, aka the actor from the first season. It has just been fun. Seeing actors coming back. Next week we're gonna have Zoom, and it looks like we're gonna have Tom Cavanaugh back. So it's getting better and better. I think there's only one episode left, and I think that's the next episode. Anyway, this is part 3 of A New World called Changes. Yes, because there's a lot of changes going on here. It starts off with Eddie and the Captain Daisy Corber, his former partner. They're at the graveside. Eddie needs answers, and he needs to find the Flash. He's getting frustrated. Corber's trying to talk him down, and he yells and he screams. And she ends up getting sucked into a portal, basically a small singularity, which is kind of looks a little bit similar to, if you remember from the first season, after Eddie died, it caused a singularity. His body gets sucked into it. So there's a little bit of connection going on here to the which I do appreciate. This episode is directed by Stefan and Plazinski. You've heard it both ways now, probably by me and 3 other people. Anyway, so yeah. Basically, Team Flash back in the president is trying to deal with the crisis, the fact that Barry is gone. Cecile ends up getting hit with a wave of terror. She doesn't know where it's coming from. Suddenly, the Speed Force shows up. And she seriously says, "Hey, we need Barry was cloaked by the negative Speed Force. I won't hold out much longer. I'm gonna end up disappearing." Basically, the Speed Force ends up basically blinking out of existence. The only Speed Force left is basically in Barry's family. So after this, we're assuming that Barry was sent to 2049 because in the past that's basically what they're thinking. So and that's basically what the Speed Flash or Speed Force basically entity. It basically told everybody. So we're led to believe that. So we're going to be jumping a little bit back and forth between the future, 2049, and then the present day. So it might get a little confusing if you just kind of come back from a commercial break and you're just jumping on. So unless you start this from the beginning, you're going to be kind of really confused, especially if you've never watched the show before. So basically we get to see XS Nora Allen. Awesome. Always pleasure to have her on the show. Beautiful girl. Very talented actress. Just happy to have Jessica Parker Kennedy back on the show. Those were my favorite episodes in the past seasons. Was all with Nora. All right. So basically, we see Nora is in 2049. We see Nora, Cecile, and Allegra just got done taking down a bad guy. They're celebrating. And then I know we cut to basically, we see that Eddie needing answers, so he went to find Barry. He ends up finding himself inside the Flash Museum, learning that Barry, is not around. They don't know what's going on, at least. There, he's confronted by someone who looks like Nora, but she has blondish hair. And it's obvious to us, the viewers, that it's the negative Speed Force trying to mess with Eddie, trying to manipulate him. And then we get to see that the real Nora runs into the Flash Museum after, and because they said Chester said there's like some kind of negative techion or singularity presence in and above us in the Flash Museum, above Star Labs. And so she confronts, she finds out it's Eddie. Eddie kind of freaks out because he just saw someone who basically looks like was supposed to be his daughter, his version if he had lived. she's gone, and now he sees this. And yeah, just before Eddie was able to grab the blue crystal, go in the portal, Nora ends up grabbing him. So they ended up going back to basically the bottom part in Star Labs. Team Flash is kind of freaking out because, hey, this is Barry's not called Speed Force. He's the Flash. Keep up. And hello, Marania, thank you for showing up. So they're freaking out because they believe that Eddie is responsible for all the singularities. And so as they learn this, basically gets go to basically that Nora basically introduces herself. She confronts Eddie by himself after he's been flipping through, looking at his Barry's future, Iris and his family and all that stuff, everything he missed after he basically killed himself in order to stop his future self or future or descendants, Eobard. And he feels it was kind of those for nothing because I'm here and like, why am I here? I don't know what's going on. And he's kind of going down memory lane. Meanwhile, he's also being talked and manipulated, and it was a voice ahead, which is the negative Speed Force, trying to manipulate Eddie into becoming the new Avatar, becoming the new Reverse Flash. Nora gives a heartfelt speech. She says, I can't understand what you're going through. It must be a lot. It's painful and all. And she says that basically, they are. She ends up getting her interrupted. We're cut back to she's interrupted by the actual plot. Before she continues, we see we'll go back in the present. We see Chester talking to Cecile. And he thinks that with Cecile's power, she can astral project her conscience into her future self because they want to help Barry. They're convinced that Barry's in 2049. At this point, we haven't seen Barry in 2049. We haven't seen the present Barry there. So what goes on is basically that she uses a machine and she basically casts herself into her future self. Meanwhile, Nora is in the time vault, leaving a message through Gideon for her dad saying it's really messed up. Eddie's alive. We need your help. And suddenly the lights kind of flicker. And then she hears a voice say, Nora. Yes, creepy. Yeah, and, Nora sees the blue crystal down there. We all know you shouldn't touch anything that's blue or a crystal or even combined. And she picks it up and she instantly becomes possessed by the negative Speed Force. Seriously, this crystal runs around through space and time a lot. You think you see it on the ground, you wouldn't touch it because you don't know what it is. Especially the fact that they're speedsters and anything can happen. I would be like getting a hazmat suit on before something like that appeared. So as we see Eddie scrolling through the history database, possessed Nora shows up inside the speed lab, talking to Eddie, and starts basically manipulating him, and saying, they didn't tell you, but Eddie, you're the one that's causing the singularity, Same like, and he starts freaking out a little bit, and he asks her for help, and so she takes him back to Mercury Labs, where AKA Malcolm Gilmore. Yes, it's funny. His last name's Gilmore. Gilmore Girls, CW, whatever. They go to Mercury Labs. As Cecile goes to the running to protect Mary, she runs into Chester and Illega. She learns, overhears them talking about how she hasn't basically been seeing her husband or her daughter more than at least 2 times in the whole entire, the past 2 years, or the past year. And she freaks out. She has a panic attack, and she ends up back in the present, which is there, I guess, the past, 2049. Also, we also learned a little bit before she does that, we learned that basically that future Barry, we're not going to see him because he's somewhere off in space. Sounds pretty cool. I wish I'd seen that. All right. We go to basically, we go. As Cecile enters the back of her body, she's what's going on, yeah. Well, meanwhile, in the future, in Mercury Labs, possessed Nora further manipulates Eddie. Then we get to see Eddie, we get the flashback of Eobard Thawne talking to Eddie. This is in season 1, and saying, that he's basically a means an end. He's like, I'm the one of the power, you're not. It's like, and so Eddie basically starts freaking out again. He has a panic attack. He says he needs air, and because she's holding out the blue crystal, and he kind of goes out. Past Barry show, basically aka present Barry, the one that's been displaced through time, appears up he blinks in existence out of a blue flash behind negative Nora, is what they call her for this episode, because she's a little bit negative. And Barry doesn't know that she's possessed. He goes to hug her, and explains to Nora, it's like, oh, what's going on? The Speed Force is, negative Speed Force is attacking us. Hugs her. She basically does a Palpatine shock blast to him. And so, as we go from a commercial break, then coming back, we see that Barry's pleading with Nora, and she basically says, "You're stupid every time you." It's like, you think you learn, not to be so gullible. You're so slow, Barry. Daddy then appears in there. Sees that Nora's basically attacking Barry, and his conscience is clear. It says, "What the hell are you doing?" Eddie is then whisked away by Barry. So they go to basically Joe's house. Here, they realize, they notice that, as they're having a heart-to-heart, Eddie is thanked by Barry for his sacrifice and explains what's going on. And they see, as Eddie goes to pick up basically a photo off the desk. Instead of seeing Joe West, he sees himself. And Barry says, "I've seen this before." And Barry suddenly gets the idea. It's like, oh my gosh, the reason you're brought back is the negative Speed Force wants you to be its new avatar. It's created the whole world around you, like a negative tactians. And Eddie's freaking out. He's like, no, it can't be real. I know. It's like, why would it do it? Maybe it's a gift. I don't have to be evil. And so Eddie says he's gonna basically, he's not saying he's gonna trust the crystal, but he's starting to doubt Barry. All of a sudden, we hear negative Nora from the middle of the central city. She has a really set of pipes, she yells all the way to where they're at the house, and they hear her, and she says, "Flash, give me back, Eddie." It's like, face me, you coward. And before Barry leaves Eddie, he says, "Eddie, I trust you. You'll make the correct decision. You're a good man. The good heart." And he leaves him there. So as we cut back from another freaking commercial break, I think there's more commercial breaks than there is minutes on the show. We see Barry in his Flash costume, confronting Nora. They try to reason with her. She ends up basically lassoing him with their little electricity bolt, purple bolt, and just whips him around. Literally, yeets him around. We get this cool, actually, and I guess honestly, this is where all the money goes to in this episode, is them chasing each other, fighting, running up buildings, dodging. Barry just basically playing keep away. He has a minute where he can actually hit Nora with a blast, but he decides not to. She ends up lasting him again and eating around. She's getting ready to throw a car at him when Nora gets sees the car suddenly stop and floating in midair. It is actually Cecile in her new body, and she says, "Get away from my friend!" And she pulls a Doctor Strange 2, where she basically pushes Nora and causes Nora's soul or body to be separated from the negative Speed Force. There's no originality anymore in TV. We're just copy everybody else now. Ugh, what I expect from this show. All right. So, Eddie was left with a decision. He said he needs more answers. He ends up searching out, Iris. He finds Iris at her apartment We see much. She basically kind of looks a little same, a little older. It's hard to tell. She has. They obviously gave her more gray in her hair. Whoop de doo. So he basically Eddie confronts her, and she first she's a little hesitant, but then she realizes it's really Eddie. She gives him a hug, and he basically wants Eddie to well, she says, "We can help you, Eddie." And Eddie's like, "I don't want your help." He sees a frame of Barry with his family, and then it changes to Eddie, Iris, and then his version of Nora. And he starts hearing voices again, and he's mad that basically that Iris rejects him. Before he goes to leave, he says, "You're gonna regret this, all of you. You're all gonna pay." He leaves. All right. We basically cut back to basically Nora and Cecile and Barry. Nora hugs Barry, and Cecile says, is basically Nora and them find out that Cecile's actually the one from Barry's present from the past. And she says, my superhero name is now Virtue. Don't call me Cecile. I'm Virtue. Of course it is. That's all she does is virtue signal on the show. All right. As they look up, we see these red lightning flashes, like a thunderbolt in the sky, blah, blah, blah. We've seen this multiple times. It's a cheap trick now. I don't care anymore. So basically, as they go back to the Speed Lab, they explain who they are. That Cecile and Barry they're from the past. And as this goes on, they get a warning going on and alerts going off. It's basically future Chester tells them that basically the red lightning storm is basically the timeline fighting against itself, and eventually, if they don't stop Eddie and restore Eddie and defeat the Negative Speed Force, that all the time their timeline's going to be erased. Everything, basically a crisis, wave. All right. So then Future Iris shows up in the Speed Lab here, and we're towards the end of the episode here. She basically says, it's like, "Hey, Barry, I don't know what's going on, but all I can tell you right now, because I don't have answers or questions, I don't even answer. We're happy in the future. We love each other. We're happy." And Barry says enough for him. Just before Barry blinks out of existence again. Yeah, it's because that's his new trait now. He shows up, fights, and then blinks out again. Kind of like the last 3 seasons. Anyway, all right. Going out after Barry's been pulled on the timeline of the Negative Speed Force, we cut the Mercury Labs where basically Eddie is raging out like the Incredible Hulk, pretty much. He's basically knocking test tube speakers over, screaming, yelling, and then he hears a voice saying, "Eddie." Yes, it's not Venom, but it's close enough. He grabs the blue crystal off the countertop, takes the glass case off it, and then he looks into it. He sees the possible future him he could be with Iris, and he caves in. He grabs the crystal up, and then he stretches out his hand, and holy crap, he creates a singularity portal. And that's all it ends. But wait, we get a trailer for next week's episode. Zoom and Reverse Flash, Tom Cavanaugh are both back. We also have Jay Garrick is back too, because the timeline's collapsing on itself, and it's going to take all of them to defeat all the villains. And yes, Miranda, with Barry blinking in and out, he should be called the Blink, not the Flash. Yes. This frog is flashing across the screen. Not really. I'm just on the left side of the screen. All right. And it's good to see you, Tahila. I gotta say, this was a much better episode. Last episode was really good too. I take it back. Last episode sucked. Yes, the first part of this 4-part adventure, A New World, was amazing. Last episode, horrible. Amazing again. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm getting PTSD and whiplash from Good, bad, good. Will the next episode, episode 13, be amazing, or will it suck? Because honestly, at this point, I am excited. Whenever you bring Tom Cavanaugh, I don't care about Team Flash. Tom Cavanaugh is babe. He's my babe, bro. He's my boy. He's amazing. He's awesome. I just want an epic conclusion. That's it. And then we can say, c'est la vie to this crappy series. But I gotta say, it is ironic with this show ending and then Jeremy Adams leaving the Flash. When I'm gonna miss, what I'm not going to miss. You can figure out which one I'm gonna miss more. Yeah. You know, T, it's alright if you miss some of our TV show reviews. Sometimes I miss them too. I block them out because I rage. But don't worry. Next week, Puppetine will be back to either bathe in the glory of being the final episode or just be horrified by how horrible it could be. Because we don't know. It's the series finale, I believe, is next episode. I don't think there's one after this. I'm pretty sure it's the last one. Let me look on IMDb. I think that's it. I'm not seeing anything for episode 14 or anything like that, but... Oh, well, wait. Yeah, I don't see anything. There's only one for next episode. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Go check out our past reviews and see what you think of it. You know, if you think we suffered enough, I thought about reviewing some other shows, but there really isn't anything other than this show and Superman and Lois. And I'm not going to review Gotham Knights. We gave you guys Batwoman coverage. You know? Yes. But I'm rambling now. I hope you guys had fun. If you haven't already done so, please leave a like and subscribe. Why would you not want to subscribe? Also, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of the show and what you thought of this episode. What do you think of my review? Do you think my review sucks? Do you think I'm a horrible person? Do you think I'm a black pill? Do you think I'm a shill? Whatever. Let me know down below. Also, if you want, you can help out the channel by basically not only just sharing out these streams, but also I'll do the word of mouth, just telling people about this. And also, if you want to go to ko-fi.com/Puppetine, you can leave $1 or more, whatever. The money is well spent. It goes towards basically to helping us pay for the comic book apps that we use for the Marvel DC, and also pays for the StreamYard monthly bills. Yeah. With that being said, this will be the only stream for tonight. But check out RDV and Zach. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central, talking about the best books of the week. And ironically, there actually is a Flash book out this week. Will it be the best? Or will it be second best? Who knows? Thanks for joining, guys. We'll see ya. Bye-bye.